Oh, wrong camera angle. That's a great start, isn't it? It's all going technically brilliantly behind the scenes this afternoon. Nothing could possibly go wrong this afternoon. Let's see how we go. Episode number 203 of This Week in WordPress. I am joined by three fabulous guests. We've got Remkus. How are you doing, Remkus?
Excellent.
You are excellent. Remkus, I have no biography written down for you, so I'm going to ask you to
There is
bio
one.
yourself.
There is one, actually.
Oh, you see,
Yeah.
nothing could possibly go right. Will you read it out?
I actually made a point of putting it in there.
Go on,
But
will you read it out for me?
I shall. So, head of people and partners at Circled and WordPress veteran.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Remkus, of course, has been on the show many, many times before. He's got a lot of interesting opinions, so hopefully we'll share some of those today. There's quite a lot of WordPressy stuff to talk about, and we've got somebody new on the show today. We've never had Ines van Dijk before, but how are you doing? How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm sad that the weather's nasty where I'm at, but otherwise, I'm good. Thank you.
You're in Holland, but I hope you'll forgive me for this. You have
No, I know it's coming.
what you have a very, very English accent.
Yeah. This is I've been dating someone who's a Brit for a year and a half now, and he's very, very proud of the fact that I now speak the Queen's English. Apparently,
you are indistinguishable from somebody who might live next door to me. Anyway, very nice to meet you. I'll give you your bio. Interaction quality specialist is what Ines does. She's got over a decade worth of experience in the WordPress environment, so it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. Hopefully you'll enjoy it and come back several times into the future. And we also have Cameron. It's like 4 a.m. or something over in Australia. Thank you for staying up. It's not that bad. It's about 10:30, I think, something like that. How are you doing, Cameron?
Yeah, it's like 10:30 here.
How are you doing? You all right? It is, I think, a bit laggy. Cameron was saying to me before the show began that he was suffering a bit of lag. So what we'll probably have to do for Cameron, if you're unable to solve the lag, just maybe refresh or something, Cameron. And if that doesn't solve it, we'll just make sure to give you some breathing room so that we'll make sure that you're able to get your stuff in, even if it's not quite so toing and froing. And Cameron, I don't know if it's you. I suspect it might be somebody is clicking their mouse and it's being picked up really loudly on the microphone. So if that is you, I don't know if you're able to kind of mute your mic in between times, but that would be really, really helpful. Thank you so much. Cameron, hopefully you can hear us. Let's see how we go. Okay, let's share the cameras, get the screen up. This is WP Builds. This is our website. If you want to keep updated, you can click the subscribe link at the top there. And on this website, we basically drone on about WordPress. We're on episode 203 of this show. And we're on episode, I don't know, what are we on? 272 of our main podcast. And if you're interested in WordPressy stuff, go and get yourself subscribed. A couple of people dropping into the chat. Hello, Rob Cairns. Nice to have you with us. Really nice to see you once more. And also Peter Ingersoll. What is he saying? He's saying, my clocks are finally aligned with Nathan's. Yes, we had problems because last week everything went out of kilter because the British changed. But hopefully this week will be fine. Okay, let's crack on, shall we? If you like images, this will be good news to you. For the longest period of time, in fact, I would say since I've been using the internet, my stock thing has been to use a JPEG. Whenever I've taken a photo on my camera or downloaded something from the internet, more or less all the time, it has been a JPEG. Maybe it was a PNG, which I believe is pronounced ping. But we've got some new image formats coming down the pipe, and one of them is called WebP. Apparently it was created by Google. Not that really matters. But according to Sarah Gooding on the WP Tavern website later last week, she was saying that the WordPress team are thinking that in version 6, they might well put it into core so that if you drop any kind of image, well, particularly JPEGs, it will then on the back end create a WebP version for you. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, what's the point of that? Well, the point of that is that it uses, apparently, according to this, 30% less file size. So let's say you've got a 1 meg JPEG, you might end up with a sort of 700 kilobyte WebP, which is obviously going to sort of speed things up. And the intention would be you drop a JPEG into the media library and it creates a WebP version. I cannot see the downside to this, but some people in the comments are saying, well, hang on a minute, maybe it's going to make additional use of your hard disk space, because we don't seem to have the clarity yet on what it's going to do. If it's creating an additional image, does that mean that instead of, I don't know, a thumbnail and a medium and a large and all of that, we're going to now have a WebP, and will they be thumbnail, medium or large as well? So anyway, I think this is really good. I know, Remkus, one of your big things is performance. This is performance, right?
It is, and the comments are not wrong. It will create more, it will eat more storage, sure, but I think that's a non-discussion. The performance gain is 30%. It's pretty big. There's no argument. The quality is the same. You are required to push less over the data, so there's really no reason why you wouldn't want to do this. It makes stuff faster. We should all want this.
Apparently, if you look at like a JPEG and you look at a WebP, it's indistinguishable. You know, human eye just cannot see the difference.
No, I've been using WebP for a couple of years now. There is no difference. It's a built-in feature from Cloudflare, for instance. So Cloudflare can service your images as well as from a CDN perspective, and if you have a pro account, it services the WebP format. There's no downside, and storage is really not the thing you want to be using as the argument to not do this.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you're faster, you're going to get more discovered. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Ines, what do you make of this?
To be honest with you, this is a bit that I know very little about. My main thing's always been the support of WooCommerce and assorted other plugins. Performance has never really been my gig. So I've got very, very little to say about this. I'm sorry.
Would you though, if you were uploading product images, would you be telling clients and what have you, from now on use WebP? I'm just going to put a graphic up. Actually, we've got a link from here to the Can I Use website, which illustrates. I think a couple of years ago, if you're using WebP, when Remkus started to use it, there was probably patchy support for it. Maybe some browsers didn't offer it.
So there was a fallback mechanism in place.
Yeah.
So if the browser supported it, great. If not, here's the old dirty JPEG.
Yeah, but I think now basically that the time for that excuse has sort of gone away. Would appear that now you're going to be doing this, and every single piece of software that I've got that creates images, be those product images for WooCommerce or whatever they have the option to create it as a WebP image. So I don't know, Ines, whether you'd be telling your clients, stop using JPEG, start using WebP.
Well, I mean, if you look at some of the clients that WooCommerce has, they have very, very, very large inventory for their products. So they have massive storage needs for their imagery. And if you gain 30% on performance, like Remkus said, that's massive. So yeah, I could definitely see that being recommended to power users.
Yeah, it says here, and I'm going to quote, using WebP images creates websites that are lighter and faster compared to JPEG images. WebP images generated by WordPress are almost always smaller, 30% plus or minus variation on average. You won't even notice what's going on in WordPress. It looks like you'll just upload it and it'll all happen in the background. I think the concern isn't like, should people do this? I think the obvious answer to that is yes. It's just whether or not WordPress should do it by default. If you upload a JPEG, should there be a toggle somewhere to say, no, leave my JPEGs alone? I want them.
If you can find one single argument that sticks,
Go into the comments and see if you can comment.
I've seen him. I've seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm.
We seem to have lost Cameron. Let's see if we can drag Cameron back in. I think, as we said at the top of the show.
Yeah, I'm not about to jump into comment sections for highly opinionated stuff that is not considering the actual benefit first. Like, if whatever your negative about it is, and you're not weighing in what it actually brings, then you're missing out. There's You're
Are you saying that you're not in it for the WordPress drama, Remkus?
Oh, that would be a way to describe it. Yeah. No, I do not engage with WordPress drama. That is correct. I've had my what is it, 15 years now? Opportunity of 15 years to do so, and I still don't see the benefit. So
stay away.
Progress is progress. Just move forward.
Yeah, I genuinely don't have a clue what the technology is. Somebody actually in the comments was complaining that they were distrustful of anything Google, and I really don't know.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, but I mean, if
so, this is a format.
Yeah, right.
They're not listening in.
Yeah, precisely. So it has been created by Google. I genuinely don't know what the difference is in terms of the technology and how they squash it to such a great extent. But my guess is that it won't be too long before something supersedes WebP and we get something better. So for now, that seems to be the best that we've got. And it's going to be potentially switched on in WordPress 6.0. If you are watching this show, you will notice that Cameron keeps sort of popping in and going away again. Cameron, I'm really sorry if it's not working out for you today. If you are frustrated and can't hear us and this is all just too much of a drama for you, fear not, we'll have you back on another day. But I'm more than happy to keep dragging you back in if you wish to stay. It would be lovely to have your commentary. Can you, for example, Cameron, hear me at the moment? And the tumbleweed, I think, illustrates that probably Cameron can't hear me. And if he can't hear me, we'll keep him on the screen as long as he wants to be there. But if things improve, Cameron, we'll have you in. But be sure to shout out at some point if the stream returns to normal. Okay, that was WebP. I'm quite excited about that. I'm going to start exporting them as my default from this point on. The next one, though, is more of a community story. We had Anne Mccarthy on. When did we have Anne Mccarthy? Like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And we didn't get into this. We were talking about her museum of block art at that point. But last week, pretty much late last week, right at the end, she is, of course, in charge at the moment of the full site editing kind of testing program. It's called the Full Site Editing Outreach Program, to give it its proper name. And she's on the lookout for some people to give her some feedback. The overview is that she wants testers to test some new bits and pieces, which are hopefully going to drop in 6.0. If you look at the screen, you can see that I've highlighted the bits and pieces that we're going to be talking about. Let me find the right bit. So let me go right to the bottom where we've got the tests for instructions. So she basically wants you to sign up for the program, create an author, add some structure, add a no results block, which I find is a curious new block coming around, because with the query loop block, if there's no results currently, it doesn't really do very much. But there's now going to be a no results block, which you can use to display what like a placeholder, basically, if there's nothing there, and some styling. See what you make of it. And I don't know if this is the kind of thing you guys get involved in. I confess, much to my chagrin, I don't seem to find the time to do this, but this is call number 13, and you can find it. The piece is called FE Program Call Testing Call number 13, Authoring an Author Template, because that's what it's all about. Ines, got anything on this, or Remkus, or indeed Cameron?
Honestly, if it's something that Anne is spearheading, I've worked with her for years. I sadly left Automatic about a month ago. Anne is just fantastic. She's the hardest worker that I've ever met. So yeah, I'm sad to not be working with her again. But maybe this is a good opportunity to get back in it.
I was saying that for the year 2021. I think she's the name that's come up more in my feed than almost anybody else in the WordPress space. I mean, she just seems, it's relentless. I genuinely don't know when she gets a time to relax and rest. It seems phenomenal.
And that's just the stuff that is visible to everyone. But she does a lot within Automatic as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You're going to be testing it out, Remkus? Yeah, that says no, doesn't it? That look on the face there.
You know what? I'm not pulled in this direction.
No, you don't like
it's the time. It's the I have there's a few architectural things now already with FSC that I go like, why are we doing it like that? So the placeholder block for when your query results show nothing, why not have that in the query block? I mean, there's loads of those things around. So I'm like, it's already a lost battle to me. So I'll just work with whatever is the outcome of it and go from there, because
you're very much a part of the community, and
but they don't need any more grumpy old men jumping in there.
But the thing is, it's curious because the whole project is built upon this, isn't it? And despite the fact that the four of us, if Cameron can hear us, are really into the project and want to advance, finding the time to actually do this meaningful stuff is difficult, right? I really do struggle. And obviously, if it was like a corporate entity and we were all getting paid, and somebody said, "Right, sit down here for an hour and test that would it'd be really easy for us to justify that." But me forging an hour or an hour and a half, I find that's a very difficult thing to do. And although Anne goes to great lengths to make it as easy as possible, it's still difficult. And I wonder how the project suffers as a result of that.
Yeah, it is difficult setting aside time for this.
Ines, it sounded like you were going to say something.
Yeah, I think this is an issue that you have throughout the community, right? It's not just the testing; it's basically everything. You have a number of larger companies who can afford supplying their people to do stuff within the WordPress community. And then you've got people like me who do freelance, and it's like, well, this is time that I want to give to the project because, you know, I'm part of that ecosystem. But it's very difficult to kind of justify that against, but I'm also selling my hours. So I've always felt like there's a bit of an imbalance there, and on the one hand it's quite natural, and on the other it's something that, yeah, I'd love to see fixed, although I don't really have the solution for that.
Yeah, this is a perennial debate. This comes up all the time, isn't it? You know, about the ability of those people who can contribute being, how to describe it? You probably need to be on very stable economic grounds to be able to afford to really, really, really get stuck into the weeds. But I guess that's the way it goes at the moment. Anyway, there it is. It is full site editing, call for testing, number 13. Go check it out if you want to help. We're sticking with WP Tavern. Now this, I think this is cool. I'm going to put another piece on the screen here. This is, it went and it came and it went. This is Justin Tadlock over on the Tavern. The Tabble. I like that. I'm going to rename that site, the WP Tabble. The WordPress.org pattern creator is now open to the public. So yeah, that's basically it. There's this new ability to, well, essentially there's a link on this page. It's called the Pattern Creator. Let me just click and open it up. You need a WordPress.org account, which I'm sure many of us will have. And if you do have one of those and you're logged in, you can click on the link. The link takes you to WordPress.org/patterns/new.
Are we to conclude, Nathan, that you don't have a WordPress.org profile?
I do have a WordPress.org account, but I'm in an incognito window because there's so many websites that I'm logged into. Like I'm logged into the WP Tavern website, and if I go to anything, it'll possibly show what plugins are installed and things like that. So I've got to be everything's on a everything's on an incognito tab for this. But yes, I do have a
Good
WordPress.
Good rebound.
Yeah. Thank you. I had that one prepared. But yeah, go over here, and you can now actually start to create the patterns all on your own. And prior to this, that's been a fairly tricky thing to do. As with all these things, it's pretty minimal at the moment. There's a lot, though, that Justin thinks there is to like about it. And I'll just quote, he says, the pattern directory has the potential for an on-ramp for creators who want to contribute to the WordPress project, but do not know where to start. The barrier to entry is one of the lowest in the community. Sounds good. There is no requirement to write code or understand all the intricacies of theme design. It is nowhere near as complex as plugin development. It's simply a visual builder that allows sharing art with the world. So basically, go, log in, tinker, and you can save your patterns. And then hopefully next time you log in, they'll still be there and you can share them with the world. There are a few little gotchas. Justin, as always, I think is quite good at, exploring and pulling things apart, should we say, and discovering where the problems lie. And he says it seems to be built on top of the 2021 theme. And as a result, it's not entirely agnostic. He would prefer it if it had been built on 2022, because there are certain little conflicts which occur. However, just sticking to the broad story, I just think this is really, really cool. Idea now, log in, completely independent of any website that you might have, so you don't need to put like some sort of testing site up. You just want a repository of little patterns that you created, little experiments, trying something out. You can share them, other people can glance at them and what have you. This is cool. And with that, I'm going to open it up to you three to argue about. What do you reckon? Do you like it?
I wouldn't go. I won't go as far as Justin saying that this is opening up people's art submissions. But there might be some of those who are being added to the pattern library. But I like the whole concept of it. I need to solve this particular layout. I've done it, and here you go. Everybody else can use it. I think that's very much in line with creating and sharing, and together making it better.
Yeah.
I'm really wondering though, how is quality verified? Because if anyone can just submit experiments, the risk that you have is that you very quickly have like an overcrowded marketplace where you can't really find anything to your liking. So I'm not really clear on how this is going to.
Yeah, so there's a pattern directory, which is a different thing. So it's like the plugin directory. And then there's this pattern creator. So this is really just like a launch pad for you and your ideas. And then if you wish to submit those to the pattern directory, much like themes and plugins, there's a bit of an oversight of that. So this is really, it's just like a blank canvas. Go here, play around, and experiment, and then save them away for like a rainy day if you come up with one or two that you really like. And I just think that's just such a really nice idea, especially for those people who, I don't know, for one reason or other, perhaps don't have a dedicated development environment, or they're just new to WordPress and they want to figure out how these things work, and they don't have a website stacked away for that.
The majority of people that I've spoken to over the past 6 years have gone, a development site? What do you mean? What is that?
Yes. The advent of page builders have changed things rather a lot, I think, in the WordPress space. And, I would imagine that a lot of people literally have no idea of what kind of thing is going on in the background when they put a page together. And so Justin makes that point.
It's not just page builders, though. It's the end users of WordPress. So people who are in need of having a website for whatever reason, for their hobby or their business or whatever, they're not necessarily web people. So the end users will not have a clue about what it takes to put something together decently beyond the basics. Is my experience. A lot of people that I've run into have kind of stumbled into WordPress because it's such a familiar name, and so many hosts offer it as like a pre-installed software. Doesn't mean that they necessarily understand, good maintenance principles or development principles. So I'm not sure if it's down to page builders per se. I think it's more of a end user education thing.
One of the points that Justin makes, and I think this is a really nice feature, is that the creator tool is integrated with. I'm going to get the word right because I often say the wrong thing. You know, the media library, the free Openverse. That's the one I'm after. So this growing, albeit very small, well, not very small, but small compared to something like, I don't know, Shutterstock or something like that. But this growing free source of images, that is built in. So you could, for example, go and you know that you wished, I don't know, Justin's example contains things, it looks like fabric or something like that. Somebody's obviously taken pictures of fabric. And so he's downloaded those and used them, and he's completely aware that it's for free, and he doesn't have to leave the interface to drag all those things in. And as time goes on and that Openverse library gets bigger and bigger, then this whole creation process will get easier and easier and easier. I just think that's great. So a nice unexpected consequence. Yeah.
I think this is one of those things that when we see, when we look into the future in 2 or 3 years ago, remember when that was introduced? That was cool. Because yes, quality is a thing, but I genuinely think having predefined, they're not snippets, but pattern snippets, whatever you want to call them.
Yep.
They're solving a problem.
Yeah.
I have an uncle who really understands how to add stuff to his, but every single time when it comes to layout and even with the block editor, and then I get the question. So this is the example I'm seeing. Can you make that for me? And once you've made it, I can understand how to copy it and create versions of it. But can you put it together for me? And that's exactly what this is solving.
Yes, many.
Totally agree.
Go on, Ines, sorry.
No, I just said I completely agree.
I guess the intention will be that at some point there is like a curated set of this kind of stuff, and hopefully there'll be some sort of ranking system where if we've got 5,000 hero patterns in the directory, there'll be some mechanism for kind of filtering out the ones which are, I don't know, have been made with more time and thought, shall we say. But yeah, really, really nice point, Remkus. Yeah, it's great, especially if non-technical people can really get to grips with their website quickly. Okay, that's very cool. So one more time, that's wordpress.org/patterns/new pattern. You will need a wordpress.org account. I have not played with it, so I don't know how intuitive it is, but it looks as if it is. There's some menu items at the top which you need to be mindful of, but apart from that, you should be off to the races. Okay, sadly, a couple of years ago, there was this really dreadful piece of news, and it kind of was right at the beginning of the whole COVID thing. In fact, I seem to remember that it dovetailed, well, perfectly is the exact wrong word. It was the opposite. WordCamp Asia came along, and it was within days, I think probably a week or 2 weeks of happening, and the COVID pandemic occurred. And the decision, which we'll get into with Ines in a minute, actually, she's got an interesting thought about this. The decision was made to pull the event, and it hasn't been going since then. But it looks like it's back. The WordCamp Central website has an article asking all about people who would like to become organisers. So we're at that point. We're not at the kind of speaker stage. We're at the point of organising the organisers. And if you are in that part of the world, or you wish to travel to that part of the world in 2023, it's happening in February, then now is the time to get on with that. And let me just see if I can find the original post that article came from. Here we go. It's asia.wordcamp.org, and the piece is called Call for Organisers. And it's the usual thing. You go and tell them why you think you'd be an organizer and a good one. There's some criteria. You have to be available during WordCamp Asia. Yeah, that seems fairly sensible. You have to residency in Asia or active involvement in the Asian WordPress community. That's also up there. Can commit at least 3 hours per week for planning. This may increase right before the event. I'm sure that Remkus can give us the number of hours that are involved in organising a major WordCamp. Be able to attend weekly, bi-weekly meetings as needed, and have diversity as a core belief. So you've got basically just under a year for this whole thing to be pulled together. First things first, Remkus, as one of the founders of WordCamp Europe, what was your thoughts on this when it all got pulled and cancelled? Must have been heartrending, I would have thought. Lots of work just basically thrown away.
Yeah, that's such a big event. So many people slated to come. In fact, I think the flights had already start filling up with people actually going there.
Yes.
I think this a week prior or 2 weeks prior, I'm pretty sure people started flying that way already, planning a little trip ahead of it and such. That's I can imagine the sadness and disappointment of having that event canceled right before it actually was going to happen for the very first time. And it's quite unique that it actually came about, right? So the unification process happening there for all the communities involved, that's a huge impact. And to see that just dissipate, like poof, gone.
Yeah,
that's heart-wrenching.
Well, as luck would have it, the interest seems still to be there, and so yeah, this is really just me raising awareness as to the fact that if you are willing to be an organizer and fulfill those criteria, you can. Give us a little taste, because those criteria, obviously they're geographically bound, but there was a couple in there in terms of time, like 3 hours per week. Obviously, you can't speak for WordCamp Asia, but does how much is going on in the background, and what is the level of commitment? If you were organising this event, are you really after seriously committed people, or can you sort of drop in and drop out a bit?
You cannot do the latter. No, no. So just consider this: the amount of people coming and the care that the amount of people require does not grow linear. It grows a little bit exponential. So the larger you get, the way more you need to have taken care of. And that also means more people on the ground, obviously. So involvement dropping in and out, I guess for some roles there's some fluidity, but in general, no. And 3 hours is fine for the first 6 months, I guess.
And then it goes north.
It definitely goes north. Yes.
Yeah. You, Ines, before we began, you had an interesting take, because we were just throwing around the stories that we would probably talk about, and I mentioned this one, and you had something quite interesting to say about the way it was cancelled last time.
No, I think that was Cameron, but I'm happy to kind of rephrase what he said. No, it was the way that the decision was not made by the organizing team, but by Matt. So, yeah, I believe what Cameron said was that he felt the decision should have been on the organizing team rather than, one person stepping in and saying, well, I'm pulling the plug on this now. Whether you're against or for the decision itself doesn't really matter. It's the organizing team should have had authority in that regard, because
should have not been bypassed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I understand that there was a need for making a quick decision. 2 years on, we know what the consequences of not having done that would have been. But yeah, definitely the organizing team should have been the ones in place of authority there.
Yeah, I suppose the argument would be one of time, wouldn't it? With the fact that a decision needed to be made quickly, because I don't really know what was tied up in all of that in terms of refunding things and, preventing people from getting on planes, because a delay of 12 hours might have seen another 200 or 300 people embark and get themselves on a plane, and then find out mid-air that the whole event's been cancelled. That would have been greatly disappointing. So yeah, maybe it was just about timing, and in order to sort of forestall all of that.
Regardless, the message still should have not come the way it came.
Yeah. Yes. Cameron, as that was your point and not Ines's, and I misspoke there, are you able to get your mic going now and your camera going and give a response to that? I'll give a few seconds and see if you can chip in. But it sounds, from the comments that you're putting in the private chat, it does sound like Cameron's getting a dreadful delay of sort of 30 seconds where he can't hear us and 30 seconds where he can. So it might be that he can't even hear what I'm saying now. I'll just pause for a second, see if you can get in the conversation. Doesn't look like it. No. Okay. All right. Well, we'll press on. Okay, that was WordCamp Asia. Obviously, at some point fairly soon, once they've got the organising team sorted, they'll probably be looking for speakers and people to attend. Bookmark it. What were the dates? I know it said February. There you go. 17th is the tentative date. 17th of February in the year 2023. Okay.
Oh, that's my birthday. Wouldn't be bad. Nice. In Thailand.
Is that good or bad? I don't know.
Which one is your birthday?
The 19th.
So come on. I think that's a great excuse to go to Thailand. That's where it is.
Yeah, but I can't because my daughter's birthday is the 18th. So
Remkus won't be going. So she's going to send Ines in his stead. Yeah. Cameron, I'm so sorry about that. He says he's putting things in our little private chat. He says that when you switch to the screen share, it gets better for a minute or two. Cameron, if this is totally not working out for you, the last thing I want to do is have you just sitting here if it's frustrating and a bit awkward. So if you wish to just call it a day, I think everybody would understand. But if you want to stick with us on the off chance that it repairs itself, that would be lovely too. Okay, right, next one up. This is cool. I really like this. This is a new thing. Sarah Gooding in the Tavern talks about a new. Well, I'm going to say plugin. Snow Monkey Editor plugin adds custom styles to WordPress core blocks. I think Cameron has now made the decision that he's going to head off, so maybe we'll see him again later. Let's see. Essentially, limited styling. If you've got one of these third-party block packs, like, I don't know, Cadence or CoBlocks or Stackable or something like that, those plugin developers have gone to great lengths to pack in as many different styling options to their blocks. So they might have a rival, I don't know, heading block, and rather than it just being you can change the H value, maybe you can underline things or add all sorts of wizardry to it. But with the core blocks, the styling is really limited in most cases, almost to the point where you kind of find them a little bit unusable in certain situations. If it's not just plain text, you might well find yourself looking around for a third-party solution. So somewhat ingeniously, and I'm kind of surprised that this hasn't been done so far, the developers over at Snow Monkey, which is a curious name, have created an ability to download their plugin, and then it brings along a load of styling options just to the core blocks. So it's not like they've got their own blocks with styling options. This is just the core blocks. So, for example, at the minute on the screen, we're looking at the paragraph option. And really, there's nothing with the paragraph. You've just got the basic, italics, bold, underline. That's more or less it. I think you can add a class in the sidebar and so on. But this has got a whole load of different visual options. So there's color options, there's a drops cap option, and various other different things.
I recognize the dog.
Really?
Yeah.
That's Sarah's dog.
That's Sarah's
dog. That's cool. So that we're seeing a picture of a dog on the screen because there's the image option, and really very limited amount of options in the core block for images. You basically put it in, and I think you can put rounded corners on it, and that's about it. Seems like there's a bit of a meme going around the internet at the moment where you might want to. I don't even know what this effect is called, where you make images sort of egg shaped, or they're kind of like puddle shaped. They're just irregular with rounded corners. I'm sure there'll be a word for that. So you can do that, and it comes with. I can see 6 on the screen at the moment, but I'm sure there'd be more. List items, again, it's very basic. You can change a dot into an arrow and a couple of other things, but that's about it. So different options for that, and background colors and so on. You basically invoke it by downloading the plugin, and then they put this. I don't know what to say about this. There's a blue little snow monkey icon, and I'm not all that keen on the blueness of the snow monkey icon. It's a bit like when you get a plugin in the WordPress admin area, and it's got like the icon for that is like bright red or something. It just
Is it really a monkey?
It's like a monkey's face. A snow monkey. It's got that kind of. It's like wearing goggles.
So I think in pictures and imagery and stuff, and now you have trouble. Okay. So that makes sense.
Now I see.
It's a baboon.
Can you see it? It's like it basically looks like a World War II bomb or something being dropped. You've got the eyes, and you've got the little sort of, not smiley, it's the opposite. It's like a grumpy looking mouse. But the fact is, it's blue, and that's, to me, like, no, don't do that.
You can see more in this than just that, though. But
yeah. So you invoke that, and then you've got absolutely boatload of things that you can do. So, it brings up a whole load of options: text color, letter spacing, line height, formatting, remove formatting, font size, badges, background color. And actually, on the example that we're using at the moment, which is just a plain paragraph block, it kind of spices it up. So,
I really like what it does.
Yeah, isn't it nice?
I really like what it does, yeah.
And for me, the best bit is the fact that it's just with core blocks. They haven't taken the approach of doing anything snazzy of their own. It's just
I do wonder what they're all loading in the background. So if this is adding a whole bunch of style sheets for just a few options you might use, that's a little bit of a waste. So I'd be curious to know how they actually generate the CSS and how they load it. But in terms of what it does, I like.
Yeah.
Also, one of the things that I think I noticed is that it kind of loads the edit block that you would have on the right in the sidebar within the block itself. Is that right? Yeah, you see that right there.
What do you mean? I'll show I'll show the one of the dog. Yeah.
Yeah, so that would normally be full height on the right of your screen.
I don't know.
In the block.
Yeah, I think he's just got a tiny screen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think because at the top here I can see the words block and page just here. I think that implies, that it is. No, it's okay. It's easy to misunderstand that. But yeah, I think just for the purposes of clarity, he's was it Sarah that's done this? Yes, Sarah has just zoomed right in order to keep it nice and simple.
Yeah, I thought you were the one highlighting this stuff. That's where my mistake went.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of other extras it brings along for the ride, which I actually think make it possibly even more valuable. And that's the option to a particular block based upon screen size. So according to this, you've got tablet, PC. It's using a media query. You can hide a particular block by a user role. So I don't know. You could almost use this
for
kind
very interesting,
like membership content or something like that. If you have bought a particular, I don't know, if you've got a particular WooCommerce role or something like that, then show this or don't show that. Scroll animations. Yep. Okay. Publish date time settings. Again, so rather than just being user roles, you can actually set a time for this particular block to expire. So I'm thinking, I don't know, Black Friday sales block or something like that. Seems kind of nice. And you can also add a lock to the capacity to edit it based upon user roles. The administrator, according to Sarah's piece, is the only person that could set it. So if I'm the administrator and you are an editor, I could say, yes, you may fiddle with this block, but no, you subscriber, you may not. So it's got a lot more. It's almost like a very, very slimmed down kind of membership style solution thrown in there as well. So I'm very excited about this.
I still think you need a membership.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Dedicated thing, but this is nice. This is really nice in what it offers. I just hope they are also considering the performance side of things on the front end.
Yeah. It's very rare. I've got to say, it's pretty rare that I see a block like this and I actually want to go and download it. Usually I sort of look at it and I think, well, that seems curious, but it's a bit edge case for me. But I've run up against so many limitations of the standard WordPress core blocks. And honestly, if I can get away with just using the core blocks, that's what I want to do. I don't really want to be loading in additional things. And so if this is lightweight and it does the job, and maybe, who knows, maybe somebody can give us a bit of an insight in that in the days and weeks to come.
But those are the nicest plugins, right? The ones that you go, I kind of want to install this one on every single site.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember the last time I had that was with Coco Analytics.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have so many people I need to see a little bit about who visits my site and this does this and does that. And Coco Analytics was a beautiful solution. And all you had to do was install it. It was private. It was no, there's no cookies and all of that. But people got a little bit of a dashboard, a little bit of an insight. Perfect. I installed that for all the sites of my family members and all that. One of those. And this sounds like exactly one of those plugins. Like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
Like, this is. I know they're going to want to use this. Like my uncle, the one I mentioned, he's going to love this one.
Yeah.
Because he does this. This is what they do.
And it's just leveraging what's already there, which is what I think is so ingenious, because you don't, you're not going down the rabbit hole. So presumably, I don't know, typically with these kind of things, the free version comes on. Who knows? Maybe in the future they'll add in they'll jam pack it with like loads of extra options. Maybe there'll be a paid version. No idea. But you can, it was March 30th it was written, WP Tavern. It's called Snow Monkey Editor Plugin, adds custom styles to WordPress core blocks. What was that one called again, Remkus? I'm going to write it down. Coco
Analytics by
like C-O-C-O.
K-O. Knockout.
Okay.
I think.
That is typically
good
what
old
I
Danny.
need.
Yep. That's a countryman of ours.
Oh, okay. What was the name again? Just to give him some props.
Danny van Koten.
Nice.
Thank
you.
No idea how to pronounce that in English way.
He's the one behind the MailChimp for WordPress plugin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's been around for
and one of the founders of Fathom as well.
That's also analytics, isn't it?
Yep.
But is that more on the SaaS side?
Yeah, but he
is that really
he started
simple CSS?
A Fathom?
No, really simple CSS, I believe, is another one of his plugins. That's quite
possible. He has some really neat plugins out there. There's the pop-up thingy. What is it called? Bugzilla or something like that.
Yeah, Bugzilla. Yeah, it's a derivative of MailChimp for WordPress. So I used to do support for MailChimp for WordPress, so I know all of his.
You did, yeah.
Oh, we stumbled into a real little niche here, haven't we? I'm going to go and check out the Coco Analytics one, though, because typically that's what I want. I want the bare bones. Basically, I want to know how many times that page got loaded. And not a lot beyond that. I don't really want to be delving into sort of, I don't know, what age group they fit in. Maybe geographical location could be of some interest, but basically I want to know how many times the page was loaded. And I think things like Google Analytics, there's just too much in there for me.
Too overpowered.
Just way too overpowering. And every time I log in, I am overwhelmed because I now no longer know where anything is. Going like I don't go in maybe every 6 months to sort of get some kind of report that I want every 6 months.
I was going to ask, you log in about once every 6 months, right?
Yeah, that's about it. And then complete confusion. Where are the things? And also, I just don't understand the language. So show me the number of visitors. All right, Coco Analytics. I'm taking your advice. Okay, thank you. That's good. We should do that. We should have that as a section. Recommended blocks or recommended plugins each week. One of the guests should bring one of their little choices along. So yeah. Okay, right. We're we're running out of things here, which is good because, like I said at the top, I've got to take my son to the dentist. But I thought this one was quite interesting. Do you know what? The more that forgive me if you are big Facebook lovers, but the more that I hear about Facebook and the more things that I learn about Facebook, the less inclined I am to have any love for them at all. And I can't speak as to whether this next piece represents the truth or not, but I'll just pop it on the screen. It's on a website called gadgeteer.co.za. And, please, it's called Facebook Sued for Overstating Advertising Reach. So we're straying away from WordPress now. Court expanded the pool of plaintiffs to include more than 2 million small ad buyers. The long and the short of it is apparently, and again, I'm sure we will find out through due process, so I'm going to paraphrase everything because Facebook, I suspect, have some quite good lawyers. I'm going to say the word allegedly. For years, Facebook repeatedly confronted a choice between telling customers the truth or preserving its revenue. And at every turn, Facebook chose its revenue, lawyers say, for ad buyers. Basically, the story goes like this. If you've been buying ads on the Facebook platform, which almost everybody in business will consider doing, whether or not they actually part with any money, it will definitely be on the list of things to check out if you want to promote your business online. Apparently, Facebook, Google, maybe we could have this same exact conversation, substitute
potato,
Facebook
potato.
for the word Google. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But apparently they've been just massaging the figures. So, like, fake profiles count as a view of your advert. Imagine any way in which something which shouldn't be tracked as an impression of your ad. There must be multitudes of things that Facebook know. The metrics is that's not real. That never happened. That we shouldn't count that. But apparently they don't. And what if I'd have spent $100,000, $200,000, $1 million, whatever, on the Facebook network, and this lawsuit manages to find that there is evidence of this, man alive, I would be so quite cross.
So you're absolutely right. You would be, but the reason they're getting away with it because these suspicions have been there for quite a while. Years, yeah. So I think I think they're getting away with it because they're still a result.
Yeah.
So if
you mean,
what would you really care if your result percentage went from, I don't know, 13.7%, and it would then be reduced to 12.1? Would you really, like, you're putting 100,000 in, but you're getting back, a substantial return on investment?
I don't know, because I think you could make the same argument. Let's say that you go to a car dealership and you agree to pay £13,000 for a new car, and you show up and the guy says, "I've just changed my mind. It's going to be another £100. It's only it's like 0.0. It's 0.3%. Don't worry about it. Just give me the extra money." And
I'm not saying I agree with the statement. I'm saying I'm playing devil's advocate.
Oh yeah, no, I realize. Yeah,
there's like, if you found out, would it really change everything so much? No, not really. But you'd never trust him again. But
but that's the
I'll take it one step further. I'm of the opinion you should never trust Facebook. You should never trust Google. Period.
Devil's advocate out the window.
Yeah. That's gone. That's gone.
I think after all of these years of lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit, Facebook has proven themselves to be utterly unreliable. Very similar to Amazon. If you don't really have a need for it, maybe not use it
at all, ever.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Beth makes a good point, and maybe this speaks to what the problem really is right now, especially. Beth Livingston says, we used to get results
Yeah.
with the new iOS stuff, which I'll explain in a minute. It's way harder and way more expensive. So I think they're going to lose lots of folks. And this lawsuit means more abdicators. So maybe that's the point. They are literally terrified of what has happened on the Apple side. So just to paint the picture there, I think it was like iOS update about 6 months ago, something along those lines. You now have to give permission to Facebook if they wish to track you. And the way that the language is worded, that permission option really suggests don't click yes. It's something like, I agree to be tracked by Facebook. And, that word is toxic, isn't it?
But it's accurate, though.
Yeah. But I wish to be tracked. I've got two choices here. Okay, I'll go for the tracking. Yeah, why not? So my estimation is that's just destroyed traffic.
It is. There's been numbers published somewhere, I think a couple of weeks ago, about the percentage of loss of income just by Facebook not being able to track, and they are shitting themselves.
So this is businesses who've been reliant upon Facebook, and like to your point a minute ago, Remkus, there is no doubt historically it was a complete no-brainer to spend money in certain areas with a certain level of knowledge of how to use that platform and retarget people. It was brilliant, and maybe it still is brilliant. But if your demographic are iPhone carriers and you are, you're reading stuff like this, you are going to be. I would be predisposed now to make Rob's point. Rob Cairns has just written this. He says it's hard to get Facebook ads to convert. It's almost not worth it. And I guess at some point that will become the default. You'll just be like, I can't be bothered with that. I know that they're conning me anyway. So why bother? Let's go. Let's go for Google instead. Yay!
So, as you might know, there's a Facebook for WooCommerce plugin that's fairly new. I think it's maybe 2 or 3 years old at this point. Was originally created by Facebook themselves, then it was transported to WooCommerce, and now but I'm not exactly sure what the status of it is right now. But the happiness engineers on the WooCommerce end had a lot of interaction with Facebook to get support going in some way. And the experience that I personally have had with Facebook is that it's very similar to PayPal. If you have any experience professionally with PayPal, you know what a bloody headache it is to work with that company, because they're all like tiny little independent products that all fall under the same name. And Facebook is exactly the same. They have these small little teams that work on a specific thing, and then when it doesn't work, it just gets abandoned. But there's like thousands of people using it, and this feels very similar.
I don't want to go all conspiracy, but that sounds like it's by design, right? If you have small teams that are so independent of each other, you cannot collaborate. So nobody sees the real picture, and then we get essentially what we have with the ads too much counted.
I think it's twofold. On the one end, it allows you to produce something very, very quickly. So if you have an independent team that doesn't have to go through, I don't know how many protocols in order to release something, you can get something up and running really quickly. And then on the other hand, is what you said is, there's no oversight, there's no collaboration between products, and things just fall apart or get abandoned, and users don't get told. So things change and things look different all of a sudden. And it's like, well, no one's really responsible, and support doesn't really know where to go with this. So, whatever, figure it out, sort of. I don't know.
I'm so disinclined though to to trust Facebook on almost every level now, and things like this. Just to give some complexion to this story, it does say that, and I actually didn't realize that this had been going on for so long. So it would appear that people have been pursuing this lawsuit for a very, very, very long time. But the judge finally has said, look, this can now go forward because apparently, to quote, there was a blunderbuss of objections, which I presume is like just a litany, one after another, by Facebook in order to essentially, I guess, just prevaricate, prevent, get the lawyers to make things go away for a little bit, and 6 months later come up with some other way of making it go away. But it would appear that now they've run out of runway, and now it's going to happen. So we'll see. But to your point, Remkus, I guess if it is 0.1%, people are going to stick around because that's fine. But if we find out this is 10%, or God help us, more than that, I think, whoa.
Where's your limit?
Yeah, about 0.01% is my limit, to be honest.
No, zero. Absolutely.
Well,
zero.
if it's provable, I mean, if they've got data which categorically shows that we genuinely are finding it difficult to know where the boundary is between fake click, real click, and they can prove that, then okay, I'm sure that's the case in all sorts of real world scenarios that would. But if it can be proven that they knew and just totally ignored it because money was, it says here, I think I read it all out. Facebook was confronted with a choice between telling customers the truth or preserving its revenue. At every turn, Facebook chose its revenue. So that's the debate.
I think
we're going to have.
Perverting the revenue is also a good way of phrasing it, to be honest.
What is that Netflix documentary called?
The Social Dilemma. Yeah. I actually rewatched
that
recently.
I have to. Just keep that in mind as you're processing these types of things.
Have you seen that, Ines? Have you seen The Social Dilemma?
I have not.
Okay.
No.
I won't spoil it, but essentially it's a big hit piece on any sort of social
Is that
network.
the one with Emma Watson?
No, it's not a drama. It's more of a documentary, and it's sort of like, here's
it's from an insider.
Yeah,
and the connection to Cambridge Analytica and that whole cesspool.
But it's beautifully done, isn't it? Because they come up with this idea of like they put people behind screens who are pretending to be Facebook's brain. So it's a brilliant conceit, a really clever little trick that they did, where the Facebook is basically having an internal conversation. Like, there's people actually talking about what they're going to do, rather than it being an algorithm. The algorithm are human beings deciding, and it makes
it's fun.
Yeah, but really go and watch it. Yeah, like I said, Remkus, I watched it again about, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I have to say the first time I found it like a bit shocking. The second time I watched it, more percolated into my head, and I found it even more shocking, to be honest. And yeah.
I think a lot of people still have the idea that the people in power, and whether or not that's political power or power like Facebook, corporations, that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
That the people in charge actually have a good clue of what they're doing, and a lot of people just really do not.
Yeah, well, they're just, it's basically humans at the end of the day. It's quite interesting here as well that Beth makes, is it Beth? Yeah, Beth makes the point that maybe there's an opportunity for us, because, really, for the longest time, people in my local community, they utterly avoided the point of having a website because a Facebook page genuinely did what they want. So there's like a little row of shops quite close to where I live, like half a mile away. 90% of that little row of shops, they don't have a website, they have a Facebook page, and that seems to serve them, and it ranks. If you search for this particular shop, it comes up on Google, so it's been effective. But like you say, Remkus, the word is
horrid.
Yeah. So anyway,
it doesn't help that Facebook now allows for things like making appointments and making payments through Facebook. So you don't even have to use the in-app browser.
Yeah, stop feeding the beast.
Yeah.
That's right. We're addicted, and that's what comes out of the film. It's not so much how benign or aggressive the tech is. It is literally that we have all become addicted, and you have to notice that you are addicted. And that little look at 3 o'clock in the morning is totally not something you ever should be doing, because it feeds you more and more. Anyway, from all of that mess to something a little bit more positive, I'm glad to share this. This is nice. A few weeks ago, we ran a competition because we did 200 episodes. Yay! And we ran a competition, and the kind people at Yoast offered us a couple of prizes. The kind people at Stella WP offered us a couple of prizes, and so also the kind people at Cadence WP. I also, just claimed that you could win a cat to just basically try and boost the interest in. Basically, more or less everybody who entered this competition.
This is fake news, Nathan.
Yeah, well, that's right. That's Facebook all over. I know. More or less everybody.
I like how you bridged from the previous topic.
Yeah,
it's spot on.
That's right.
It's spot on.
More or less everybody who entered this competition told me that they wanted to win the cat, because all you had to do was pick. You said, I want the Yoast Prize, the Stella WP Prize, the Cadence Prize, or the cat prize, or all four, or whichever combination. Just about everybody said they wanted the cat, even though I went to great lengths to say you can't win a cat. I said, you can't win a cat. There's no cat on offer. It's just a picture of a cat. Have you any idea how complex and cruel it would be to ship a cat?
I don't feel like you tried. I
just didn't. Yeah, that's right.
I'm waiting for my Maine Coon.
We have some winners. Needless to say, look, nobody won the cat. It's there in blue and white. But these following people are the winners of the competition, the Yoast Prizes. And I can't tell you which ones you've won because I haven't got it on my screen. But Nana Uwakwe, she is a winner. So's Tina Cook, Gareth Wynn, Mohammed Yusuf. You've all won something from Yoast. The Stella WP Prizes were taken by Peter Ingersoll, Craig Patterson, Meg Appleby, Mike Martin, Michael Carnell, and Max Zeebel. I presume, sorry, Max, if I've butchered your name, and he's often listening in the comments, so I apologise if I've done that. And Cadence WP Prizes were taken by Rob Kent, who is in the chat, Toze, Toze, Vasconcelos, Philip Levine, Antonio Escudero, Richard Needich. He's won twice. I think that's a typo. And Anne Hennigar. So you are the prize winners. Yay! Congratulations. I wish I had a bell sound or should get a trumpet out at this point. What I've done is I've sent all of the details of the winners, because you did include your email address. I've sent your email address to the respective companies and asked them to reach out to you. So if they don't reach out to you, it's completely their fault. I've got nothing to... No, if they don't reach out to you, just, I don't know, email me, admin@WP Builds, and I'll make sure to hook you up with your prize. But I have communicated. And in full disclosure, I have now deleted... I've basically deleted all the places, apart from the email that I sent, your emails. I've expunged them from the WordPress database, so hopefully we're still GDPR compliant.
Are you seeing the chat, Nathan?
Because what's happening in the chat now?
They're fighting over the cat, and it's
you can't have the cat. There is no cat. It's a
split in half.
Okay, let's get into this. This could be fun.
To be fair, I mean, I know a company called Klaus. They're a QA platform. Maybe I can show you quickly the kind of socks that I'm wearing currently.
Oh yeah, hang on. Let me make the screen bigger. do that once more. Do that again.
Hang on. The cat socks.
Oh no. It's a consolation prize. I think, yeah. That's bare minimum.
I can ask if they have some swag.
Well, nobody is allowed to win the cat, but you are the first person who showed their socks on this podcast, so you get an award for that. That's brilliant. So let's see what Michelle Frechette says she's waiting for the cat. can I just reiterate? There is no cat. You can't win a cat. It's cruel.
Is this like there is no spoon thing? Is that what it is?
There's no spoon. Yeah. Look at this. This is ridiculous. Cameron Jones. Oh, Cameron, I'm so sorry that you were forced to just dwell in the comments and lurk about. I will definitely get you back on. He's disappointed he didn't win the cat. Michelle's come back with, do you want to share a cat? It gets worse. What are you going to do? Slice it in two? And okay. Rob Cairns puts a prize that is fitting. Thank you, Rob. Yeah, you've got the Cadence one. And Beth said, "Dang it, I would have loved the Cadence coffee mug." Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, Peter, you got a prize. Cameron's talking about getting half a cat each. Courtney, that cat might really log a lot past. What I need to do is purchase a fluffy cat, a small fluffy cat, which will easily go inside of a little box and post that, and we can attach a WP Builds logo and it can go from port to port. And yeah. Oh my goodness, the comments just keep going. I'm going to stop talking about the cat. There's enough comments. Look,
we're not.
Okay. Okay, one last one. Courtney is allergic to cats. She cannot accept an indoor cat. It's okay, Courtney. You're in luck because there was never a cat on offer. I am so going to do a cat prize next time. That's all I've got. Do you guys have anything? Have you got anything that you want to add? Did I miss something? No, that's fine. In our show notes, we have the option to put a pick of the week. That kind of was my pick of the week.
So I have a very selfish pick.
Go on, do it.
Yeah. So we're hiring a lot.
Oh no, that's not selfish. That's brilliant. No, go on, tell us.
Jobs.surfbolt.com, and we currently have 9 positions open, which includes support for US and a whole bunch of more.
Come on.
It's not comparable to a cat.
No, I mean, come on. I mean, everybody wants a cat. Nobody really wants employment. Duh. Customer service representative in the USA. It's on the screen at the minute. Jobs.servebolt.com. Team lead support USA. Marketing specialist. Cloud operations engineer. DevOps engineer. These are all full time, by the way. Backend PHP.
And most of them are remote.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay, that's cool to know. Backend Python developer, backend PHP developer, business developer partners, and a head of engineering. Blimey heck. One of them has got a Oslo attached tag. So I'm guessing one of them needs to be not remote, but the rest. Yeah.
Yep. For the support positions, because you might want to post that in the support-driven Slack channel if you know what that is.
That on my
I think I do.
There's a Slack channel specifically for people in support, and if you post it in there, I'm really certain you're going to find someone very quickly.
Yeah, that's I knew of it. I forgot about it, but I think Taco has mentioned it to me at one point.
Yeah, he's been in there for years. Yeah,
I'm going to throw in.
Thanks for that.
I am going to throw in another one. Oh, and by the way, Remkus, don't feel bad about that. I'm delighted that you come on the show. It's brilliant. And you mentioning the fact that there's employment options at your company is blooming excellent. Don't feel bad about that at all. I'm going to just mention another totally random thing, and I cannot put this on the screen. This is, we were banging on about Facebook, and then we sort of had a few little jabs at Google. There's a new search engine in town. And it's not called DocDocGo. It is called Kagi, KAGI.com. It's in beta, and I've been told, and I don't know if this is true, that it's been created by the guy that started Manage WP, and I've been using it for the last month. I've completely obliterated using DocDocGo and Google.
What's his name again?
I've forgotten his name, to be honest. I didn't find that information out. It was a friend of mine who was curious and then just went off looking. He said, "Oh, it's the guy that started Manage WP," which I think they sold to GoDaddy.
Yeah, he did, and he moved to the US, to California.
And this is obviously what he was doing. Now, here's the curious twist, right? Whilst it's in beta, so you have to sign up for a beta list. you can use it for free. When they're out of beta, you've got to pay. And I know this is going to sound ridiculous and privileged. Yes. I'm really into the idea of paying for search that is unadulterated by any kind of corporate interest apart from their own.
So that's a good example. If we're saying the ad stuff is a problem, which Facebook is confirming it is. The other way around is stop offering stuff for free and start asking for even nominal fees, but the sheer volume and then the quality connected to it will. For instance, if Instagram offered, and I'm aware that Instagram is part of the Meta, Facebook, but if Instagram offered a version no ads and there was a couple of bucks a month, I'd happily pay because I get a lot of joy out of it. And the same goes for ads. I use Brave search. I use DuckDuckGo search. I rarely use Google if it's not. For work, I will use Google, but the rest I won't. And I'll happily pay for it.
Yeah, I think the mooted price
was
in
money or in data.
Yeah, that's from Rob. You pay in money or in data. I think the price that was mooted is $99 a year. And honestly, internet search is one of those things that it seems free, right? It's totally. We've all been used to it being free, but at some point you are paying for it. But it's also one of those things that I habitually use every single day.
Yeah,
and I would happily pay that amount of money for a search engine that delivered results. So far, it's been epic. There's not a single search that I've put in where I've got weird results or a lack of results. It seems pretty decent. So it's Kagi, KAGI.com, and I'm just throwing that in right at the very end.
Can I make a very quick self-promotional thing, because it might be very interesting for the people listening. So I'm writing a book currently. I've had 12 years of experience in the customer support field, specifically within WordPress. I've worked with a ton of different developers, and I'm writing customer support for WordPress developers,
Nice.
which is going to be launching in the first half of this year. And if you go to my website, qualityinsupport.com, you can sign up for a list that will notify you as soon as it gets released.
That's cool. I once started writing a book once called How Not to Start Stuff. But
you were frustrated?
I never got round to doing it.
You never finished.
No, I never started. I thought that'd be actually a really good book one day, of producing a book called How Not to Start Stuff. And it was basically blank paper. It was just like a book of nothing. Because it's like the perfect time-saving thing. Here's a lesson on how not to do stuff. Anyway, there you go. Awesome. I don't know if you saw this, Remkus, but Michelle is doing her Careers Summit, WP Careers Summit soon.
I saw.
And she's heavily involved with post stats. So yeah, maybe share that link over there. Okay, I've got to take people to dentists and all that good stuff. So I'm going to have to run away. But thank you so much. I apologize sincerely to Cameron. We had obviously some sort of tech malfunction, but I would dearly love you to come back. Thanks for sticking around in the comments. Oh no, Cameron's just right on the end there, snuck one in. I was reading a book about anti-gravity, but I couldn't put it down. I had to share that right at the end. Come back on, Cameron. I would love that. And Remkus, thanks for coming on again. And Ines, thanks. Ines, thanks for coming on as well. Can we do our little wavy thing? I know that Ines doesn't know about this, but we all have to do the little wavy thing at the end so that I can get the screen grab. That's it. We're done. We'll be back next week. Thank you so much for your comments. There's been loads today.